Hey traders, it's Leaf West. I'm going to do a couple of videos tonight. It's Halloween and I'm handing out candy, so I'll probably be interrupted. But the first thing I'm going to go over is Apple for a couple of reasons. One is I did a couple of shorts today and did okay, but I think it's really at a pivotal point here where traders can make some good money here in the next day or two, probably sometime during this next week, this week. And so I'll put up my big picture view of Apple and talk about that first because it sort of tells you why I was willing to short it. Here is, on a time adjusted basis, what the 60-minute chart was for Apple going into today. So I've got today's candles taken off of it. And a couple things. One is, if you look at this trend line off the previous high, we did break back on the 14th of October, I guess, right before the earnings came out. We did make a new high, new structure high. So that's a good thing. So that implies that this move downward is corrective. And if it is corrective, we should have retracement support. And lo and behold, the lows that we made on the 21st of October basically hit right at the 50%, which is pretty good and would be good enough for me to get cautiously bullish, except that the big gap down and sort of the sort of straight line down is not really a corrective wave that I would like to pick a low on at this price level. And you can see since then we've chopped back and forth, and it actually looks like if you look at some trend lines here, it looks like a wedge. So in theory we could have the first one wave up, down, and then the next structure wave high here, and then we're making some kind of a complex correction that either this ending diagonal is either going to bust upward or it's going to may correct down to 61.8% kind of level. And I'm not really sure of what I think on that one. I want to see what happens the next couple days. Let's take a look at, if I take a look at, no, not that one. Here is, if I draw, let's take these trend lines off. If I draw projections of where this wave, this correction wave should have ended based on this first wave downward, I don't get anywhere that's near where prices sort of gain support. So it's kind of a messy from that perspective. And usually when it extends past where I think it should be getting traction, we'll go down to this 4.236 level. So that kind of is my idea, is that we're going to big move down, sideways correction, and I think I'm liking that 38.16 level, because if we get there, all the way there, that actually is right around the 61.8% level. So I still think it's going to go down. So that was my bias coming into this, coming into today, and that's why I was willing to go short. And if you look at the retracement downward from or upward from the lows of the 21st, if this has more downside, it will have trouble getting through the 61.8 here, which is $411.77. So, you know, the 50% level, it hadn't broken that and stayed above that, so I was giving it some thought that maybe that's as high as it's going to go and it's going to roll over and go forward. So let's put on the rest of the day's candles. You can see now that I've put on today's candles, we really didn't violate that 50% level. We didn't close above it on any 60-minute candle, which is a slightly bearish view of price if you're expecting it to go higher, and it stayed inside this sort of upward diagonal. And so again, tomorrow, the next day, will be very interesting, because either we're going to break up or we're going to break down on Apple. So I would watch it very closely. Let me pause now and I'll get up a shorter term chart to look at. So here's the 3-minute chart for Apple that I used today. As you can see, the market opened, did some sideways sort of doji like candles, and then boom, rocketed up. After the first few minutes, my software draws these opening range lines. As those of you that have seen some videos before, have seen that uh, point that I've made before. Anyways, what it is it takes a look at the opening range that the stock goes puts in, and then draws Fibonacci ratio lines for support and resistance. And they're kind of, if I shrink it down, you can sort of see the levels that happens at. All right. So to make a long story short, I looked at the previous day close, the high of that range, which was right around the first Fibonacci resistance area, and I decided to try a short there. So it was a sort of 1/3 position for me at 406.29. I think I did right at that Fibonacci level. Got filled, and my idea was that after we busted above it, was that if we got above this 409.53 level, I probably was going to cover my short, unless the market was showing me that Apple wouldn't have much left behind it. It never got above that, so I was sort of spared from making that decision. So I was happy to turn and let the trade work, and I think I had to stop at around 410 or something like that. And as you can see, what happened was for the rest of the morning, Apple made a nice sort of two-legged correction down, which if we look at the waves and look at where the wave was telling us to expect it to finish, it finished right where basically the wave projection told us to look for an ending there. Again, what I wanted to see from Apple today was basically weakness on bounces higher. So the first one didn't really show me that. It actually was stronger than the market, so that wasn't that great of idea for Apple. So if it went back up, broke this sort of B level high, B wave high, I probably was going to start thinking of covering it and maybe flipping long if price got above that level. So it came down to the area of support that we thought it would get to. Actually, that's the projection. So now if we look at what the retracement level was, it came down right to 50%. So perfect. It hit the projection level, it hit the retracement level. So that's a perfect area for Apple to get support. The machines kick in, take it higher. Get rid of this. Now the next key area was to look at the bounce. So if you put up your retracement grids, which is what I did, and you want to see how well Apple can do against that retracement grid. And if I just highlight that and concentrate on that, see what happened here? We had two bounces higher, right to the 61.8. And actually, if we take a look at the extension and see where that comes, I bet you, yeah, we came right to we came right to just into our target zone. So everything lined up perfectly. So I added to my short in Apple, and basically, if we hang on a sec. Okay, sorry, more trick or treat, guys. So what I did was I was looking for the high of this bounce to be taken out. And once it was taken out with this doji, and then we made a doji on a little bounce higher than that, that's where I shorted. I think I got fill price was like 407.20 or 19 or something like that. So that's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see a bounce, a corrective move down, which made all the sort of levels we would expect it to make, and then a weaker bounce into that. So what time was that? That was right at 2:20. So perfect timing. We go right into the 2:30 time slot, where if the market's going to roll over, that's right where it's going to roll over. So I shorted some more and did a wave projection based on the wave, this bounce, and it came out to 404.24. And with Apple, I like to go at least 1 or 2 cents above these levels because the machines sometimes don't let you get right to that level. So I had 404.25 was my buy cover price, and it got down to 404.23 and bounced from there. So that's how I looked at Apple short today. All right. Let me look at the day. Hang on one sec. One last quick thing on Apple. If you look at the daily chart, it is holding this nice sort of trend channel going higher. And actually, the last low here back on the 21st basically hit right on the trend line, or it hit right on the 50 EMA on the daily chart. So it really is at an interesting spot, because if we break that, we could make a really push lower. But if we don't, and we break this diagonal wedge on the 60-minute chart, I'm thinking we can go back up to the trend line, which takes you up to roughly 420 possibly, and fill this gap in a bit more. Anyways, that's it for tonight. Thanks, guys. Bye.